Hello and welcome to the Green Zone. I'm Joe Mariana, RethinkWaste's Executive Director.
I'm Amy Hashizume, RethinkWaste Environmental Education Manager.
Today's episode is all about what goes into each of your carts and why. Do you ever struggle with the items and wonder what cart they belong in? We're hoping that in this episode, we can answer some of those questions and help everybody become better recyclers and composters so you're using all three of the carts to the best of your ability.
In the RethinkWaste service area, which covers Burlingame all the way down to East Palo Alto, we currently divert about 52% of our waste from the landfill. That means that 52% of all that material at our facility is recovered to be used again or recycled into something new.
And Emmy, that also means that 48% of the material that we currently receive in our facility is still going to the landfill. California has a mandated goal to reach 75% diversion by 2020. We have a long way to go, but we know that with all the small steps that we all take every day, we can get there. And coming up next, Emmy is going to talk to us about the blue recycling cart. Stay with us on the Green Zone.
Welcome back to the Green Zone. Our Shoreway Environmental Center receives over 161 million pounds of recycling each year from the public. But did you know that over 11% of this isn't actually recycled? That's right. Not everyone places the correct materials in the recycling cart. Let's get to talking about what goes into that recycling bin and learn how to recycle right. Recycling sounds easy enough, but items are only recyclable if there's a market in place that will create new items from our recyclable materials. Let's talk about how to recycle right every time, whether it be at home, at work, or when you're out and about in the downtown areas in the RethinkWaste service area. So what will actually go into the recycling carts and bins? The simple answer is paper in containers. Any type of paper product can go into the recycling bin, including copy paper, cardboard, newspapers, magazines, paper bags, mail, children's homework, and even wrapping paper, unless it has metallic or glitter material on it. Just make sure the paper is clean, meaning that it has no food and it's dry. For containers, that includes glass, bottles, and jars only, even if they're broken. Metal, such as soda and soup cans, and even aluminum foil. Just make sure to clean the food off the best you can before placing it in the bin. Paper containers such as milk and juice cartons that you bought in the refrigerated section of your grocery store. And plastic. Most hard plastic containers such as water and detergent bottles, jars and milk jugs are accepted. However, no plastic utensils or plastic straws are ever accepted in the bins, and no film plastic like bags. Most plastic containers have a recycling symbol with a number on it. This doesn't necessarily mean that the item is recyclable. The number just corresponds to the type of plastic it's made of. Containers should be empty and mostly clean. When we say clean, we mean about 90%. This means you might need to use a spoon or a spatula to scrape out the last bit of peanut butter, or for a shampoo bottle, swish it around with the water so you have no more liquid inside. Now that you get the general idea of what goes into your recycling cart, here are some additional tips to help you out when you're not sure. Remember to flatten all cardboard boxes before placing them in your cart or bin. This helps keep your cart and bin fully closed. This is really important on those rainy days. You don't want to get paper materials wet or soggy. Then they are no longer recyclable. Black plastic is not accepted at our recycling facility, so please don't put it in your recycling cart or bin. Our special machinery called optical sorters can't identify black plastic and cannot sort it out. Containers that are made of multiple materials are also not accepted, such as aseptic containers made of aluminum, paper, and plastic. Examples of these are shelf-stable cartons like soy milk, juice containers, meat and vegetable stocks, and soup containers. We do not have the ability or the machinery to separate all the mixed materials from these containers. If you're putting shredded paper in the recycling, please put it in a paper bag first and write shredded paper on the outside. Up to 11% of materials that arrive at our recycling center are non-recyclable, either because they're the wrong material, like hazardous waste, or they've been contaminated with liquid or food residue. These items often wind up in the recycling because people believe that simply placing an item in the recycling means it will end up recycled. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Items that are wishfully placed in the recycling do not get recycled and are considered contamination. Contamination has become a major issue recently. In the past, our paper and plastics were recycled in China, with a contamination rate of 2 to 4%. China is now only accepting materials with a contamination rate of 0.5%, which is unachievable by most recycling facilities. Due to the sheer amount of material that our facility processes, it is impossible to pick out every single contaminated item, but it all adds up. Just a small amount of contamination can send bales of otherwise recyclable material to the landfill. We can all do our part and rethink what goes into the recycling. If you aren't sure, check out recyclestuff.org, especially for those hard to recycle items. And when in doubt, throw it out.
Welcome back to the Green Zone. Annually, we receive about 245 million pounds of organic materials at the Shoreway Environmental Center. Did you know that about 40% of edible food in the United States ends up in landfills each year? Not only is that a missed opportunity, but it causes issues for the environment. Edible food takes many precious natural resources to grow and end up in our homes. Not only are these resources wasted, but organic materials in the landfill produce harmful methane gas. Methane gas is a greenhouse gas 21 times more potent in our atmosphere than carbon dioxide. As you can see, it can add up. So know how to be cart smart and use your compost cart correctly. This is your green cart. If you live in a single family home, you already have this cart. Some multifamily residents may also have this cart, and many businesses have this cart or a green bin too. If you live in an apartment or condo that doesn't have the green compost bin, please speak to your property manager to get one. Everything that goes in the compost cart will be sent to a commercial compost facility where it'll be processed into a nutrient-rich soil amendment. So what goes into your compost cart and bin? Simply put, your yard trimmings, food scraps, and food-soiled paper products. Yard trimmings include leaves, small branches, grass, and other natural items from your yard and garden. Food scraps include food cores, bones, inedible stems, uneaten food, and a host of other scraps that you may have from eating or from food preparation in the kitchen, including meat and dairy items. Food-soiled paper products are paper items that get dirty with food, including paper towels, napkins, paper plates, paper coffee filters, and greasy pizza boxes. Just keep your used tissues out. For residents with a compost cart or bin, you can use a handy kitchen pail to keep your food scraps inside your home before emptying them into the larger cart. You can keep these pails on your counter, under the sink, even in the freezer. Kitchen pails are free to all residents. Just ask Recology San Mateo County for one. Now that you get the general idea of what goes into your compost cart, here are some additional tips to help you keep your compost as clean as possible. Pet waste does not go in your compost. Even if you're using compostable bags, the waste inside can contaminate commercial composting facilities. All human and pet waste definitely go into the trash. Keep liquids and ice out of the compost. Remember, this is a solid waste operation, and we do not handle liquid waste. Plastic bags are not accepted as well. Other materials that are food soiled, such as plastic containers, glass jars, aluminum foil, and trays, never go into a compost cart. Those materials are not organic, meaning they will not biodegrade back into the soil like our dirty paper products do. Keeping your compost clean is important because you're the last person to touch what you put inside it until it's used again in somebody else's garden. Compost from your carts and bins is dumped onto the ground into the transfer station and moved directly to the compost facility, and it is not sorted. Once the compost is processed at the facility, it comes back as finished compost that can be picked up for free by residents at the Shoreway Environmental Center. Composting helps our environment by reducing greenhouse gas emissions in two main ways. First, compost used in gardens or landscapes absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Additionally, when organic material is sent to the landfill, the compostable items break down anaerobically with or without air, which produces methane gas. Methane is 21 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas in our atmosphere. Be sure to do your part by placing the correct materials in your green compost cart or bin. If you're unsure if something goes into the compost, look it up at recology.com.
And welcome back to the Green Zone. The last of the 3 carts is your garbage. The average U.S. individual produces 4 pounds of garbage a day. But if you're recycling and composting correctly, your garbage should be pretty clean and pretty empty. Right now, we receive over 443 million pounds of garbage each year that goes right to the landfill. That's more than we receive in the recycling and compost carts combined. So there are still many items that need to go into the garbage, but let's recycle and compost correctly as much as possible. This is your garbage cart, also known as the landfill cart, because everything that is put into it goes to the landfill. Everything that goes into this cart does not get sorted. Use this cart only for what belongs in the trash and not in the recycling or compost bins. This includes items such as flimsy plastic, like plastic bags and film. Remember, plastic bags are accepted at the Shoreway Environmental Center's Public Recycling Center drop-off. Other plastics that go into your garbage include straws, utensils, polystyrene foam such as styrofoam, packaging peanuts, and black plastic. To avoid using these items, consider bringing your own straw or declining one when possible and reusing packaging peanuts in black plastic takeout containers. Snack food wrappers, such as potato chips and candy wrappers, are also garbage, along with stickers and tape. Diapers, pet waste, and used tissues, as well as Band-Aids, always go into the garbage. Mixed material items, such as foil-lined containers, are also garbage because it's very difficult to separate out the different materials to be recycled. Broken glass kitchenware, windows, and mirrors also go into the landfill. Just because something does not go into the recycling or compost does not automatically mean it goes into the trash. Here are some examples of items that cannot go into any bin. Items that are not accepted in the garbage include anything hazardous, including batteries, electronic waste, motor and cooking oil, and paint. These hazardous materials need to be properly disposed of and do not go in any of our 3 carts. Making sure that the right waste goes into each of your carts and bins gives residents and businesses the chance to make a difference and help the environment. It's important to use the garbage cart correctly because you want to capture as much of the recyclable and compostable materials as possible so they can be repurposed for a better use. To avoid filling up your garbage, consider donation or reuse as much as possible. Reuse that black plastic takeout container to hold tomorrow's lunch. You can also avoid waste in the first place by purchasing items with less packaging. If residents and businesses are cart smart and practice the 4 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, then most of our activity will be in the recycling and composting carts, and their black cart will have very little inside.
Welcome back to the Green Zone. I'm here today with Cyndi Urman. She's our board clerk and office manager. Cyndi's the person that answers the phone, that answers a lot of the questions that you folks have in terms of what goes where and how to dispose of things properly. So Cyndi, welcome.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell us about some of the common questions that you guys get?
Sure. One of the most common questions that we get at RethinkWaste is about hard to recycle items, things like mattresses.
Yes.
People don't realize that mattresses, there's a new program through the state of California called Bye Bye Mattress. So now you can drop mattresses off here, up to 5 for a residential drop-off for free. There's no charge. Only mattresses, not box springs, not the metal framing. So I do want people to know that when they call, that it's just the mattress. Another common question I get is how to schedule a bulky item collection. People have larger items that don't fit into their carts, and residential customers can call Recology and schedule a bulky item collection and have those items picked up, and they can do that up to 2 times per year. If you live in a multifamily residential unit, you do need to do that through your property management company.
Is there anything else on the bulky item that you'd like to add?
Well, you can do appliances, furniture, more garbage. If you've cleaned out your garage and you have extra garbage, then you can put that out in your bulky item collection, and you can do that up to 2 times per year.
Great, thank you. That's a great program. We get a lot of questions on it, and I feel like not everybody knows about the program, so it's important to get the parameters of that. So thank you. Is there anything else that you want the residents to know beyond those comments?
Sure, so we get a lot of questions about hard to recycle items like propane tanks, especially in the summer when people go camping.
Yep.
They have those small propane tanks and they don't know what to do with them. So that is actually through the County of San Mateo, through their Household Hazardous Waste program. You call them up and you can drop those off there via an appointment.
Cyndi, where would the public look to find out how to responsibly recycle some of the hard to recycle items?
Sure, so here at the Shoreway Environmental Center, we have a public recycling center where you can do a lot of those hard to recycle items, things like fluorescent tubes, which can't go into any of the bins because of the mercury. Things like glass. Glass can go into the blue bin only if it's a container, like a jar or a wine bottle. But beveled glass, things like window glass or table glass, those actually go in the trash. Those aren't recyclable. Another great resource is recyclestuff.org. It's a collaboration between San Mateo County and Santa Clara County. You can go onto recyclestuff.org. There's a database right at the top. You enter the item you're trying to find a place to put, recycle or reuse, and a lot of resources will come up. It's a great resource.
Great. Yeah, that website is a really important database and can help you find out what to recycle where, especially a lot of the hard to recycle items.
Yes.
So good stuff, good stuff. Thank you for the great information, Cyndi. Is there anything else you want us to know?
Sure, so I think that residents should continue to practice the 4 R's in their home. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, which is the R word for composting.
Yes.
Ways that you can do that is to shop local. When you shop local, there's less packaging. Instead of just bringing your shopping bags to the grocery store, also bring your produce bags with you so that you're not getting those little plastic bags. Any way that you can reduce plastic use is a good thing. So that's what I want people to know. Just keep living a sustainable life and practice those 4 R's.
Yeah. Outstanding. Thanks. Really great comments, great tips. Thank you for joining us today, Cyndi. And we'll be right back from the Green Zone. Now that you know what goes into your 3 carts, hopefully you can be cart smart every day, so you can help us reach the state's 75% diversion goal. Remember, every little correct step makes a big difference.
That's absolutely right, Joe. Just remember that recyclables are mostly paper and containers, but no black plastic. Compost is yard waste, food scraps, and food soiled paper. And the black cart is for anything that doesn't belong in the recycling or composting carts. Materials that end up in the landfill don't get sorted. And don't forget that liquids and hazardous materials like batteries and electronic waste cannot go in any of the carts. Find out more how to recycle those items by going to our website, RethinkWaste.org.
Thank you, Emmy, for joining us today. And we'll see you next time on
The Green Zone.